Meet David Ramba. Who is David Ramba and why should we care? Well, if you're a citizen of Florida and you're interested where your county and state tax revenues are spent, please give me a few minutes to inform you about David Ramba. Mr. Ramba has power over the two most powerful groups of elected officials in Florida, and yet hardly anybody knows who he is. Here he is giving a presentation at the Florida Senate's Committee on Ethics and Election as the new executive director of FSC, or the Florida Supervisors of Elections. Who are FSC? The FSC is a nonprofit organization that was formed to help the Florida Supervisor of Elections share information and lobby for legislation. This might sound like a great idea on the surface, but the problem is our county taxes directly fund most of the revenues that this supposedly nonprofit private entity uses. If you didn't have a problem with that, you might start having a problem when you try to Google David Ramba. You see, Mr. Ramba founded a for-profit lobbying firm called Ramba Consulting LLC. And if you check out who that firm represents, you start to see some large corporations who may want to influence Florida politics and, most importantly, our elections. Because what better way to control Florida politics than controlling who's allowed to win in the elections? Some of the large companies Mr. Ramba represents are Florida Power and Light, or FP&L, AT&T, some of the largest concrete product associations in the state, as well as a number of medical associations. Now, we don't knock a private lobbying firm wanting to help companies get access to Florida's legislators and help in important initiatives. That's how America works. But when you look into who works at Ramba, you start to see some horrible connections. You see this man here, Evan Power. He is also employed by David Ramba's firm. And who is Evan Power? Well, if we Google Evan Power, you will see that he is the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida, or the RPOF. So you see, David Ramba is both the boss of the Florida Supervisor of Elections and the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida, all while being paid by tax funds as the director of FSC. If you don't think this is right, please call your county commissioners and legislators and demand that we stop having big business lobbyists paid for with our property taxes and in charge of our politics. Get big business out of Florida politics and give Florida citizens back their voice.